In today's cast, we're going to talk about dealing with your internal team members. If you want to have success as a teacher, there are a lot of different people that you work with. Of course, you have students. Occasionally, you may have parents or loved ones, depending on the age of your students. And you are probably going to have the occasional person from the public who is trying their very best to get help or find information. So you really have quite a few different people that you are working with standard every day. But there are others that you work with that you may take for granted. Your internal team. Now, your internal team may be made up of fellow teachers. It may be made up of coordinators, administrative staff. It may be made up of, professionals from the field who are assisting you. You may have an instructional designer, DSS support staff. There's a great deal of people that you work with every single day. They're all part of the team, but you may not bat an eye or think twice about how you're treating them. So in effect, there are really two groups of people that you are working with. You have the external group. These are people who are, I won't say your customers, but they are your your students and parental groups and people from the public. And then you have a set of internal customers like other coworkers, perhaps your dean or division chair, perhaps the communications department or public relations department, your school president or your principal, your superintendent, etc. And the internal group is someone that you're clearly not trying to educate. You're not trying to sit down with them one-on-one every week and teach them how to draw or how to paint or how to do a Z set of statistics. I made that up. It's been a long time since I've done statistics. But, in all honesty, those internal customers might really need to know how to do a median and a mean for a group of people. Anyways, long story short, you really do have two groups that you are working with, and both groups require respect. Both groups require constant attention. And both groups require the same set of positive, respectful attitude that we've learned about earlier here. They all require the attention to body language, the attention to tone, all of these things. So make sure that you're giving those. In a way, they even deserve more respect and more deference than you might give to a student, because a student is not an equal. But don't make the mistake of thinking that just because the person who might sign your check or request your contract renewal deserves any less time, attention, or support, or then more interested in how competent or professional you are, or any less interested in how competent or professional you are than one of the students in your classroom. They probably deserve a whole lot more respect. And this goes from everybody, from a coordinator, a co-worker. I suppose they don't really have a division secretary, but the administrative management, people who work the information desk. Every single person that works at that school has a vested interest in a professional outlook, and if you treat one of them like a lesser, that will get back to you, and that will ruin the rapport that you have. You don't want to be the person who is a good teacher, but treats all the secretaries like they're underlings. That's absolutely not what you want in your workplace. That is not going to build rapport. That's definitely not going to make you look professional and competent. It's going to make you look like a disrespectful jerk. A good rule of thumb here is, at the very, very least, would you treat one of your coworkers or one of your students, at the very, very least, would you treat one of your students the way you treat your division secretary? Because if the answer is no, or even worse, no, of course not, I would never treat any student like that, then you probably have a problem, a big problem. Because you're automatically identifying a place in which you clearly need to improve relations with your internal customer. How can you, as a professional in good conscience, step out of your office and step into the classroom and give those students a level of respect, and then step back into your office area and give your coworkers or division secretaries or administrative staff a lower level of respect? How can you treat them less than you would treat someone else? If you cannot approach the people who are assisting you to make your job go smoothly with the same people that you are presenting your materials to, then you are going to ultimately pay the price that every bad teacher, that every unsuccessful salesperson, that every office dictator pays. So, if a problem arises, especially one with your internal customers, focus on the solution rather than the problem. Try to solve the problem instead of placing the blame. That is really not going to get you anywhere quickly. If somebody knows that they have made the problem happen, they're going to feel bad about it. And they're going to work to fix it so that it doesn't happen again. Now, if it happens 5 times, then you're going to probably have a different conversation than what caused this problem and how are we going to fix it, because you will have seen that problem happen before. You will have had that solution again, and the person will feel bad about it. On the other hand, if no one feels it's their fault, sitting down and having a finger-pointing blame session is certainly not going to solve the problem. It's certainly not going to make anyone feel good about what's happening. It's only going to cause greater and greater distress. So when you do have a problem, again, you're going to focus on what the solution is, and you're going to try to find a solution that is a win-win situation, or a situation in which, first and foremost, you have solved the problem, or you're going to work towards a solution. If it's something like the foundation is cracked, you're going to work towards the solution to the problem. Next, once you have solved the problem, you're going to identify what the issue was and how it's not going to happen in the future. The issue was that the faucet silcock on the side of the house was broken and water has been leaking for years and years and years, and no one noticed it. So instead, what you're going to do is you're going to cut off and replace that pipe. You're going to replace that washer or gasket or both. You're going to get a new silcock, and you're going to schedule a maintenance person to come by once a year to check the new foundation, etc., etc. Similarly, if it's an internal problem, and the internal problem is that students aren't being advised correctly because the advising staff does not know which courses are taught once per year, and they don't have a schedule of when those courses will be taught, and they're not communicating with the faculty to ensure that the proper courses are going to be taught, then the solution here is, number one, a working revolving schedule will be built, which will show the advising staff which courses are taught once a semester. Your once a semester courses will come with a parentheses S on this schedule, so people know they are only taught in the spring, or they're going to go on a heading of only spring or only fall classes. You're going to set a date at which every semester in the future, the advising staff will contact your internal staff to make sure that the proper courses are being taught, etc., etc., etc. And perhaps one extra course will be opened in the curriculum one time and only available to students in that particular line if it's a one-time incident. Just remember, you're going to focus on the problem or on the solution rather than the problem. It doesn't matter who did it, let's get it solved. And the solution should not point a finger to who's in the wrong. The solution, the solution should point a finger to who is going to get the positive out of this. Who is going to get the first win and who's going to get the second win. The first win is that the advising staff are going to have the calendar that's going to make sure that all these things are properly laid out so that if any new faculty comes on or new staff members, they will know when these courses are going to be offered. And perhaps having this schedule will help the teachers as well. But the other win is that the advising staff is going to contact the faculty once per semester prior to make sure that the classes that they are advising students to take will be offered and will be offered within the capacity that is required. And in this one possible case, the students who have fallen out of lockstep will have a one-time solution to get back if they should so wish it. So you get a bit of a win-win. Either everybody wins a little bit, or if it's the case of there's an executive bathroom, but somehow faculty members have gotten hold of the executive bathroom key, then the win-win solution might be that the executive bathroom becomes a bathroom for every faculty member, in which case the executives don't really win anything out of the batch, but perhaps at some time in the future a new executive bathroom will be made, or possibly that all the locks will be changed so that the faculty so that the executive washroom is now an executive only washroom, and then the faculty members who are using that can be directed to the regular washroom, and if there is some kind of a major reason why, that can be addressed. So sometimes it's a win-win, sometimes everybody loses a little bit, and that's called a compromise. So we'll see what we can focus on here. But again, the focus is going to be on the best benefit for everyone involved. That doesn't change just because you're dealing with internal customers versus external customers. So, treating your internal customers with respect and urgency of solution will do wonders on helping you to maintain a positive role, a good outlook, and it will help prop you up as someone who cares for the team, and someone who is clearly understanding the role of all team members in the process. And this is something that is so wonderful. It will absolutely follow you. But also the opposite of true. If you treat your supporters by yelling and screaming, if you have problems with sexual harassment, etc., that will also dog you for quite a long time. Caring for your coworkers, it really comes across. It's easy to see. And when you care about your coworkers and you act in their best interest, or you just act in their best interest and you defer to their wants and needs, that's something that people see. And it's something that people come to know quickly because it's something that doesn't happen in everyday life. Frankly, you don't have to like all of your coworkers. You don't even have to get along with your coworkers. But if you are treating your coworkers with respect, if you're doing the things that will be the best towards their end game, if you're working with them to help them achieve what it is that they want to achieve, you can really get whatever it is that you want to achieve. By helping others, you will help yourself. Even if you frankly don't like them, there's no reason why you can't act in someone's best interest, whether you care or not. Again, you don't have to be best friends, but if you treat every person in your organization with kindness and courtesy and a respectful nature, you will find that that kindness and that courtesy and that respect is returned to you. Sometimes returned to you multifold. One of the best ways to do this when you're working on a project or a larger scale solution or a new initiative is to make sure, first and foremost, that you are all pulling on the same end of the rope. You don't want people pulling in opposite directions or working towards different end goals, especially if it is something that involves multiple people. You want to ensure at all times that everyone is working together and everyone is working together towards the common solution. The best way to do this is to have shared ownership. When you have shared ownership of a project, then everyone on that team, everyone that is sharing that responsibility, begins to feel like it is in their best interest to solve the problem. And people are going to be more likely to work together to reach that solution. Some enterprising people are going to feel like this is their opportunity to truly excel, and they're going to work extra hard, especially when their name is on the ticket. Others are going to feel like if they don't want to be in the limelight, but they do want to be in a support mode, that the opportunity really exists for them to lend a heavy supporting hand, especially when you have a shared goal in mind. And again, it's easiest to get that shared goal, it's easiest to get that end result in mind when you have shared responsibility and everyone has bought in because you have the similar goal and the similar solutions in mind. If possible, make sure everyone is on board with your issue. Make sure that you're going to end up with a win-win solution. Make sure that everyone feels valued, or as much as everyone can. And then when you achieve success, don't attribute it all to yourself. I know that sounds like a no-brainer, but there are a lot of people out there who, if they are the one that teaches the class that gets 100% job placement, they really feel that it's something that they did and they worked very hard on it, and they want to receive some recognition for that. But the important thing to remember here is that it was a team effort. And if it was a team effort, you need to celebrate with the team. You need to recognize everyone on the team that did that. And if you can kind of celebrate that whole team effort with the whole team, you'll find that the next time a project comes up which requires more than one person, that people will want to be on your team because they got recognition for a job well done. They got recognition in the form of some kind of a celebration when the job was completed. It's a no-brainer that people want to work where they're recognized for doing a good job, and people want to work where they feel like when a good job is done, they were praised for it. To apply this knowledge today, sit down and write down a list of all of your internal customers and think what jobs they do for you. Try to find at least one of them that you can thank this week or today for the job that they're doing. Let them know about how much you appreciate their skills, how much you appreciate their efforts on your behalf, and otherwise let them know that they are a valued member of your team. I hope you've enjoyed this podcast. Please go ahead and comment in the doobly-doo below. I heavily suggest you share this with like-minded individuals or someone who may need to hear this, especially if you feel like you're not being treated fairly. And go ahead and just blow up that like button. Just hit it like there's no tomorrow. And by all means, design your future.